Today's video we're going to discuss the dungeons and high-level loot areas in Stalker Gamma. You wouldn't realize it at first, but Stalker is filled with dungeon-like areas with high-level loot and end-game enemies. You have underground areas, abandoned hospitals, and also the infamous laboratories scattered around the zone. I have never heard of these areas of the game referred to as dungeons before, but they all fill the classic RPG and video game definitions for dungeons. The laboratories are known to be one of the most challenging and dangerous areas in the zone, and only the bravest and most well-equipped stalkers dare to venture into the depths. Upon entering, stalkers are immediately greeted by a foreboding atmosphere of pitch black darkness, flickering lights, and eerie sounds. You will need night vision goggles, as flashlights bug out and glitch from the radiation and elements in these dungeons. The air is thick with radiation, making it essential for stalkers to have the right protective gear and supplies to survive the toxic environment. If you don't prepare well enough, you could easily be spending a lot more money in these dungeons than what you're going to bring out. But if you're smart and prepared, you can make a lot of money here by butchering all the mutants and finding all the loose loot hidden around the dungeon and inside crates and boxes. Make sure you are breaking all the metal boxes and wooden crates with your knife. The laboratories consist of multiple levels, each filled with its own unique challenges and horrors. The first level is relatively straightforward, with narrow corridors, dimly lit rooms, and occasional skirmishes with mutated creatures. Stalkers will need to rely on their combat skills, as well as their ability to navigate through maze-like passages and bypass security measures such as locked doors and anomaly-filled hallways. As stalkers descend deeper into the laboratories, they encounter more formidable foes, including heavily armed mercenaries and mutated creatures with enhanced abilities. The threat of radiation becomes even more pronounced, and stalkers must be diligent in managing their radiation exposure and using anti-rad medication to stay alive. Also, the constant threat of psychic attacks from the mutants in these dungeons will keep you on your toes all the time. Psychic attacks are incredibly annoying to deal with. They usually include apparitions of enemies that get sent at you through walls and even through floors. You will need the Psi helmet that you acquire from the scientist in Yantar to proceed in these areas. For those who have made it this far, these dungeons in Stalker Gamma hold vast amounts of treasure, and since the recent update to 0.9, there is loose loot all throughout the world, especially in these dungeons. The best way to find this loot is to hold your Use button, and you will see the names of nearby items and loot in the game. For me, that's the F button. One of the major obstacles and standout features in these laboratories is the presence of various anomalies, which are dangerous and deadly phenomena that can cause severe damage or even instant death. These anomalies come in various different forms, such as electromagnetic fields, gravitational distortions, and corrosive gas clouds of radiation. My favorite ones are the pillars of fire that erupt underneath you when you walk over them. They are a pain in the butt. In addition to the combat and environmental challenges, the laboratories are also home to rich narrative and deep lore. You can access this lore by using your PDA and going to the notes section and documents, and you can uncover the dark secrets of these facilities and what kind of experiments were conducted here, and this definitely adds to your gameplay experience. These areas, because of the high combat and stress, will also help raise your player's skill, not only your personal skill as a gamer, but in Stalker Gamma you have in-game RPG-like skills that, will go up quite a bit while you're fighting down here. I can't stress this enough, that you must be prepared when going in these areas. Not only with equipment, but you need plenty of ammunition, very good weapons that are repaired and not going to jam on you, and you also need meds to keep you healthy, not radiated, and on top of you taking these meds in the dungeon, you'll need a lot of food and water to help replenish you. Whenever you find a safe area in these dungeons that don't have monsters, I highly recommend you heal yourself, eat some food, get rid of radiation, and maybe even smoke an in-game apple tobacco cigarette, if you know what I mean, to help you with your psychic defenses.
Smoking joints all day, getting pot stoned off the stinky blinky skunk.
This is definitely a middle to end game situation that you want to use to help better your character, get some great loot, and make some money. I would not start the game and go here right away. And if you progress in the story missions, you will naturally be brought to these locations to progress your story. One of the laboratories has the brain scorcher that needs to be disconnected before proceeding north deeper into the zone. A list of the early to mid-game dungeons are the Agriprom Underground, Laboratory X16, Laboratory X19, the Jupiter Underground, Laboratory X8, and a place that I like, the Deserted Hospital. And you can consider the entire northern part of the map, Chernobyl, the sarcophagus, and anything north of Pripyat, all a dungeon with high-level enemies all around, and the Monolith faction, which is a very geared up enemy faction that fights all the other factions. Let me know in the comments down below if you've been to these areas, if they were a filter for you, meaning that these blocked your progress in the game, or if you're stuck there. These tend to filter a lot of players. And let me know what you think of this video down below in the comments. I read all the comments and I really love your comments, especially if you have ideas for future videos you want to see. This channel does everything from game reviews to guides, and I will check out any game you recommend wholeheartedly. We also just relaunched our Patreon, so if you want to support the channel and buy me a coffee, I would really appreciate it. But if not, and you want to help out the channel for free, a thumbs up and sharing this video does so much to help our channel out. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and a special thanks to my supporters should be on the screen at this moment. Thank you all again and have a great rest of your day.